Hey guys, it's Tim and this is Wrestling Unlimited as it's Saturday, November 18th, 2023, and tonight was AEW Full Gear. I'm going to say overall, it was a really good show. I will say that for sure. It was a really good show, but I do have a few criticisms of this show. I will say that for sure. There are things you can criticize, especially with the main event. And we'll get into all that and whatnot, because like the Adam Cole stuff made absolutely no sense going into the main event. Now, Adam Cole showing up and being there for the tag title match, cool, whatever, okay. Let me be reserved here for a second and get through the other stuff, and then we're gonna really dive into that, because that's just some stupid. But a lot of things happened on this show. We saw probably one of the best matches in AEW history with Hangman and Swerve, but at the same time, the match was really good. And also, spot's sake, at the same time, it was like, oh, we got to get this spot in. Oh, we're going to try this crazy move. Oh, we got to try. So it's like, it was a good match, but at the same time, it was kind of a spot fest. Now, I will say it was better than Hangman and Moxley. And some may say it's not, some may say it is. But for me, it was better because this being such a violent match made more sense this time. To me, maybe I just didn't pay enough attention to the build of Moxley and Hangman to their Texas death match, but at least this one had a reason to be so violent. The goddamn guy broke into the other goddamn guy's house and hovered over his child. At least we're supposed to think. So, yeah. The reason this was so violent was, well, the guy was defending the honor of his family. And him and Moxley, it was just, we want to fight and we want to beat each other up. Okay, yeah, cool, whatever. Also, you got to team up Hangman and Shayna Baszler, because apparently they're both vampires. But a lot of stuff did happen on the show. We got a couple new champions. Titles changed hands, both on the women's division. Like, both women's division titles changed hands. And I did not expect Orange Cassidy to retain the title over Moxley. That shocked me. So we'll see where it all does go. We got a lot to do. We got a lot to talk about. Got a lot to get into. Will Ospreay is all elite, as it had been reported. And that was really the only big news note coming out of the show, if I'm going to be completely honest. Not a big newsworthy show other than, hey, it's confirmed Will Ospreay did sign with AEW. Other than that, if I'm thinking about it, not really any other news. So with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can help us out by hitting that donate button down below, or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel, one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. So also head over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the join button to become a channel member, and remember, subscribe, join, become a member over there, and then head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming a free game or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use this code right here, PWU, Unlimited at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Thank you, Neon, for the comment in the YouTube chat. He says hello and love the new graphics. Cool. So I try to do custom graphics for every pay-per-view that we cover, whether that's WWE or AEW. I try to do custom graphics for both of those shows to stand out, because I don't want to just be like every other YouTube channel that goes on AEW's social media and website, that goes on WWE's social media and website, right-click, download, save image, and then pops the same image that everybody else is going to use on their channel. Also, the other reason I create my own graphics is so they're not just static images. I can animate all of my graphics to at least animate in and do something, or animate in, and then have some sort of slight motion just to keep you occupied, keep you engaged with the graphic itself. So that's why I do like to create my own graphics for WWE and AEW stuff that we do talk about as far as shows and whatnot. And so, yeah, that's just something that I take pride in because I am a graphic designer since 2006, and I want to show off what I can do that can help elevate me just a little bit higher up than others that just kind of, I'm not going to say do the basics, but maybe not have the skill set I do to create these custom graphics for every single pay-per-view show we cover. We also do custom graphics for Raw, SmackDown, NXT. We have some for the AEW shows. I'm going to make better ones coming up at the beginning of the year and whatnot. So, yeah. I do appreciate the comment there. But with that, Kid Vicious has a comment here. He says, did Will Ospreay say he needed to step inside a TNA ring a while back? Well, Will Ospreay's done a couple shows now for TNA. And he even said that TNA was an option when he started talking with companies about signing with them. He said that at the media scrum tonight with Tony Khan. So he wouldn't say WWE, but he did say TNA was an option. He wouldn't say WWE, though. Also, he did state that basically the reason he chose AEW was because he wouldn't have to move his family. His stepson can stay in the UK and stay at his school and not have to switch schools and moving to the States or whatever. He keeps calling her my lady. I think it's his fiance. She could stay where she's living with her family, you know, really close and near and this and that. So that was one of the big things he said. And he also said he needed New Japan. He said 8 years ago, he had a match with Ricochet, and everyone thought that's just what he's going to be. The cool indie wrestler that has over-the-top matches. But he got to go to New Japan, make a name for himself. He said there would be no Will Ospreay in AEW if I never went to New Japan. If I didn't work there and learn how to grow up and be more responsible and a better person. So, hey, more power to him. Ricky and Bill are now at the media scrum. Jericho just finished up. Jericho literally said, Kenny had to go home as cat sick, if you're wondering why he's not here. I heard him correctly. He said Kenny went home early, or as soon as the show ended, or whenever before the media scrum thing, because his cat's sick. And MJF showed up to the media scrum crying. I don't know what's going on with MJF. The Gun's injured his ankle. Throughout the whole match, they played up the knee, and then he says, Doc Samson's going to have to pop my hip back in place. So what did you injure? Your ankle, your knee, or your hip? Come on, guy. Anyways. What happened on this show, I will say that most of these notes were not taken by me. I had a friend take them for me because, I watched the 0-hour pre-show on my phone at my daughter's soccer game. And so I had him do the notes for that. And then the first match of the night, because I got home right at 5 o'clock when this show was starting. So I had to jump in the house, run in the house, get the show on my computer, find a stream that actually worked properly, and there we go. So I did see the whole show, though. I did see the entire show. So on the 0-hour, we had Eddie Kingston versus Jay Lethal. Sanjay Dutt, Zat, and Singh, Jeff, and Karen Jarrett were all at ringside. Now, here's the one issue I have with the Kia Forum. Excuse me. Now, the Kia Forum is cool because it looks like no other building when you're watching a wrestling show there. But that's also a bad thing. Because when you're watching hard cam, when they just have the hard cam on and you're looking straight, it looks like there's not that many people there. And then there's this weird wall, which looks cool because it's different, but it's just a weird wooden wall with a door and this and that. And so they had to keep doing a lot of wide establishing shots to show that there's 11, 12,000 people in this building. Because if you were just hard camera, right on the ring, looking there, maybe looking up the ramp, and then looking back there at the ring, you would think a good 5,000 people maybe here, 4,000 people, 3,000 people. Not a lot. You would think not so many. And so that's the one issue I have with the Kia Forum, is that it looks and makes things feel small for wrestling, if that makes any sense. Because you're only seeing, really, if you're watching, like I said, just the hard cam, you're only seeing about 4 or 5 rows of fans, and that's it. You don't see 5, 6 feet above them. And sometimes they do if the hard cam wide zooms out a little bit. You see some people over, because there's that wall, and it's actually a balcony with more seats going up. And so some people like sitting on the wall, up against the wall, leaning over the wall, and you see like the first row or something. So that's the one issue with the Kia Forum when it comes to watching wrestling shows there on television, is it does kind of, for a lot of it, well, then there's another issue AEW had here too. A lot of it makes it look like there's a lot less people there than there actually are. And then AEW had the issue where they didn't light the crowd well. So like when we're watching the Hangman and Swerve match, and they're fighting, say, like this is the ring right here, right? The ramp is over here, commentary's over here. They're fighting over here at the ramp, and so the camera's looking this way. It just looks black and dark, and you're looking into the abyss past the commentary. So again, doesn't look like there's a lot of people there, if that makes sense. That was the one issue that I had. Sounded great. We got a lot of good crowd reactions tonight. It sounded like over 10,000 people. I think it was, let's see, what's WrestleVotes saying on attendance? I think it's like 11, 12,000. Let's see, WrestleVotes, or WrestleTix, I mean. Not WrestleVotes, WrestleTix. WrestleTix says current setup was 12,308. This is as of yesterday. Wait. So right before the show started, current setup, they opened up some more tickets this morning. 13,443 was the setup. Tickets distributed right before the show went live, 12,754. And I'm going to pull up this image to show you guys what it looked like is like a wide shot of the entire building. It looks packed. Packed as all hell. So that's good. Oop, that's the wrong thing. Can't be showing that, can't be showing that, can't be showing that. That's the scrum. There we go. So that's the packed building with 12,000 people in it. Cool. But when we're watching on TV, we see these like 5, 8, 6, 10 rows or whatever, and then this wall right here. You're not seeing my mouse. Hold on, give me 1 second. I want you guys to see my mouse. I want to kind of just explain what I was trying to say earlier. Cursor, turn it on. Okay. So now you can see it. When we're watching, the hard camera's right here, so it's looking this way. We see all these rows of people, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. Doesn't look that deep on television. Looks maybe like 5 rows. Then we see this wall right here. And so you don't see all these seats here because this wall is so high. It's like 6, 7 feet, it looks like. Maybe. I don't know. There's got to be at least a 6-foot wall, if not higher. And so you don't see a lot of times this whole section of people because you're seeing this wall and only the people in front of it. And there was a couple times where it'd zoom out a little bit and you'd see like 3 or 4 people leaned up against the wall here up top, and then maybe like the first 2 rows or something. But yeah, so that was one of the issues. Was the place is packed as you see in this image, but it didn't look like it on television. Let's throw this back over here. So as far as the 0 hour does go, the 0 hour. Also, we are taking calls and text messages at the end of the program. You can call and text into 510-906-1341. Again, that's 510-906-1341. The number will be scrolling periodically right down here on the ticker throughout the entire show. So the first match of the night was Eddie Kingston and Jay Lethal for the Ring of Honor World Championship. The match went 10 minutes and 55 seconds. These times are according to the Wikipedia. So the Code of Honor is followed by both before Kingston lit up Lethal in the corner and followed up the STO, an STO for a 1. A chop battle ensued until Lethal was sent outside, where he picked the leg and posted Kingston. Jarrett and Dutt got in their cheap shots as the entire Lethal crew did a collective Fargo strut. Nigel McGuinness said Hathaway has always had a chip on his shoulder due to his sister Anne, which got a Les Mis reference from Schiavone. So commentary for this match was Tony Schiavone, Stokely Hathaway, and Nigel McGuinness. Lethal continues to do some chops as Kingston then flipped him off and follows up with an exploder suplex. Machine gun chops unleashed by Kingston, who hit a running quarter boot, but Lethal countered an exploder into a lethal combination. Lethal then went up top, but took too long, and Kingston got a close roll-up for a 2. Lethal then popped up his fists, hit an enziguri, and a top rope elbow for a near fall. Kingston then blocked Lethal injection into a Saito suplex and a Uranagi. He signaled for a back fist and opted to clobber Dutt on the apron instead, who crashed onto Jarrett. Both Lethal and Kingston collided with a double down lariat spot for kind of like a reset, as Karen Jarrett distracted the referee. So many referees getting distracted tonight, or knocked out, or just looking goddamn stupid. God, they know how to make their refs look incompetent. Lethal and Kingston scurried for a guitar as Ortiz appeared and grabbed it, delivering an El Kabong to Dutt. Kingston again countered the lethal injection with a half-and-half suplex, followed it up with a spinning back fist to retain the championship. Ortiz and Kingston stood tall. Hathaway was furious on commentary. I don't know what the hell's going on here. What the shit? Ortiz is always on Rampage, so I don't watch Rampage. I don't know what's going on with Ortiz. He doing something with Eddie Kingston now? Because I don't watch ROH either. Buddy Kingston briefly joined Renee Paquette and RJ City on the stage and welcomed everybody to the show before calling Hathaway a bald bitch and telling him to move. Then we had kind of like the match you expected and then some. Claudio Castagnoli and Buddy Matthews was great. And all of a sudden, after the match, Claudio gave Buddy a you can't see me. Talk about that in a moment. So Matthews rushed Claudio immediately as the bell rang, but suffered a series of uppercuts for his trouble. The match spilled to the outside, where Claudio Castagnoli whipped Buddy Matthews into the barricade. Matthews gained control and connected on a Meteora off the top back inside for a 2. Both men worked sleepers until a discus lariat from Castagnoli caused a double down spot. Castagnoli unleashed uppercuts and a big boot before Matthews fought out of a giant swing and got a pop-up uppercut for his trouble. Matthews flipped out of a Ricola bomb, but as Matthews came flying off the top rope for another Meteora, Castagnoli got a giant swing and a 2. Castagnoli wanted a superplex, but Matthews slipped out and hit a Chicken Nando's kick before a powerbomb, high stack, and a jackhammer. Great-looking jackhammer for a 2. There's an anvil elbow from Matthews, but Castagnoli powered up and hit a TKO. There was a Ricola bomb that connected, and Castagnoli transitioned into a sharpshooter for the submission. Now, he had the sharpshooter in. Matthews got to the ropes. He pulled him off the ropes before he got the break, and then he brought him back to the middle of the ring, and he immediately taps out. So there we go. Then after the match, it looked like Claudio was trying to embrace Matthews and go for the handshake, but Matthews didn't want it. So Claudio's like, oh, he shrugged me off. He looking around at the crowd. He turns around as Matthews, who's walking up the ramp, and he's like, I don't know what that's all about. Him doing the John Cena. He's like, I'm like, okay, guy, you John Cena now. Then we had the final match of the buy, and also the Claudio match went 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Then we had the ROH World Tag Team Championship match. It was MJF and Samoa Joe defending the titles against the Guns. This match went 9 minutes and 25 seconds. This match was all about telling a story. And a story that at one point seemed cool until the main card started. So Excalibur informs us that Juice Robinson is out for the day because of what happened last night on Collision. Didn't watch Collision, so I think something about like he got his head smashed into a TV or something is what I heard. MJF didn't want help from Joe at one point early on in the match, and it resulted in the Guns controlling the early portion of this match. Finally, MJF was able to make the hot tag, and Joe ran wild with a Manhattan drop, big boot, snap power slam, and got a 2 off of it. Joe wanted a muscle buster, but MJF made the tag and tried to go for the muscle buster himself, and it backfired. The Guns escaped, Austin did, and then him and Colton hit the 310 to Yuma, but MJF countered, or tried to hit the 310 to Yuma, and MJF countered into a double DDT. MJF wanted to go for the kangaroo kick, but Joe made the blind tag and instead opted to do a double muscle buster. The Guns escaped from each man's muscle buster and collided with Joe, and hit him with the 310 to Yuma. MJF pulled Colton outside. Also, Jericho just stated apparently he needed 10 stitches on his arm from the getting dropped on the steps. MJF was set into the steps, and the Guns tried their finisher on Joe again, when all of a sudden we hear, "It's all about the boom!" Ba-now, 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 ba-ba. And out comes a hobbling, schwobbling, limping, one-legged Adam Cole, baby. Boom! Adam Cole comes down, distracts the Guns long enough for Colton to get put in a coquina clutch and tap out. So there we go. So Adam Cole comes down. Max is all happy to see him. And Joe signals that, hey, come here. Talk to me for a second. So he gets in the ring. And he's like, no, you owe me now. I helped you retain these titles. I won the match. You owe me. Speaking on that, they asked him in the media scrum, MJF that is, so is Samoa Joe getting the next title shot? And he goes, well, I told him I'd think about giving him a shot if he helps me out. There's nothing in writing or anything. And fucking Tony Khan's got to chime in. Yeah, it was a verbal commitment. Shut up, Tony. MJF's trying to half heel it up here, and you're just trying to play cool guy. Oh, yeah, I know what you did. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of dumb. Like, I liked MJF going, well, we'll see. Maybe I want to fulfill my obligations to what I said I would do to him, but there was nothing in writing. I just told him I'd maybe give him a shot. And then it was just dumb when Tony chimes in, yeah, it was a verbal agreement. So, yeah. Anyways, MJF leaves. No, Joe leaves, and MJF is attacked by the Guns. Joe just never comes back to help him. What the crap? Joe just never comes back to help. The Guns then beat the crap out of MJF. They Pillmanize his leg. They put his ankle in a chair. I think Austin goes to the middle rope, jumps off of it, crushes the chair on the ankle. Remember that? Ankle. And even, I think it was supposed to be the knee, and the Guns probably messed up because Excalibur on commentary was like, oh, looks like they've just Pillmanized the knee, or the Pillmanized the knee of MJF. And he goes, wait, well, actually, no, the chair's on the ankle. And they Pillmanized the ankle of MJF. I'm like, yeah, so I think the Guns messed up. Anywho, Adam Cole's like, oh my God, what's going on? He's freaking out. He's asking for help. He can't do anything to help. And they bring a stretcher down. Doc Samson looks at MJF, and they put him on the stretcher. They stretcher him out to the back, put him in an ambulance, and he tells Adam, don't let him take my belt. Don't let him take my belt from me. Adam's like, I won't, buddy. I won't, buddy. And there we go. That is how the 0 hour goes off the air. Door shut. Ambulance starts to drive off, and the show goes dark. Then we come back on. And when we come back on, I didn't see if they did any like video package to open the show, or if there was any like, welcome to the show, this is me indeed. I saw it right as the baby faces were coming out for this match. Like I said, I was in my car, saw the end of the 0 hour, ran in the house, turned it all on. There we go. The opening match was great. It was Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland with Ric Flair, who got physical in this match, against the Patriarchy, TNT champion Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. Action-packed opener. Also, Copeland wore face paint. Darby had the face paint on this side. So Copeland had the face paint on this side, and then Sting had his normal face paint. Orange Cassidy is now at the media scrum. It's a live stream, so I don't have captions. I don't know what they're saying. Can I put captions on a live stream? No. Captions not available for this live stream. So, Cage had a children's choir sing his entrance theme. As after Ric Flair made his entrance, we got a spotlight on 3 bats. And then Copeland and all them came out wearing matching face paint and gear and whatnot. Crowd sang loudly the Copeland's theme. You think you know him. And then stopped. Then after it stopped playing, they kept singing for a moment. Kind of like they do with Jericho. We saw Ken Jeong in the front row. Also, Sting went over and acknowledged Steve-O as McGinnis, compared Copeland to I think it was Copeland acknowledged Steve-O, and then McGinnis compared Copeland to a jackass for turning on his best friend, Chris Cage, who gave Wayne a long hug before the bell. Basically, it was like, come here, my son. You're starting this match, probably going to get your ass beat, but go. Wayne got an immediate cheap shot on Allen, though, to start the match off, and I loved that this match started with Darby and Nick. Allen quickly recovered. Bo went to work on the arm before tagging in Sting. To the floor they went as Sting chucked Wayne so hard into the barricade, Wayne almost flew in the front row. He almost went over the barricade. Sting threw Wayne to tag in Cage, who jumped in, but quickly bailed once Copeland tagged in. Copeland ran into the clutches of Luchasaurus, but countered a chokeslam into a leg sweep and a neck breaker. Allen then tagged in, and it was size versus speed, with Luchasaurus winning that exchange early on after Cage hit a cheap shot that led to Allen being chokeslammed onto the edge of the ring. Schiavone then told us Allen is supposed to fly out tonight and climb Mount Everest tomorrow. I knew that was coming up soon, but I didn't know when. But yeah, this guy, I'm going to sound dumb right here. Where exactly is Mount Everest? Mount Everest is in Asia. Okay, so where would you fly in? You're going to Mount Everest Airport. How long would this flight be? I don't even know. Flight from Los Angeles to Mount Everest. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where you fly into. But yeah, he's flying to Mount Everest. He's going to climb Mount Everest starting tomorrow. Crazy, crazy, crazy guy. Cage picked up the pieces and kept Allen isolated with his teammates as Wayne mocked a Flair strut and flipped off the Nature Boy. Wayne wanted a superplex, but Allen bit the hand and countered into an Avalanche Code Red for a double down spot. Cage then snuck under the ring and pulled out the leg of Copeland, posting him as Luchasaurus mowed down Sting. Allen then crawled to nobody in his corner. Cage then missed a spear and bonked heads with Allen as a result, allowing Copeland to make the hot tag, and Cage bailed. So he ran wild on Luchasaurus with an impaler. Copeland, that is, ran wild on Luchasaurus with an impaler on the floor, where he pressed Wayne over the top onto Luchasaurus, who caught him. As Allen flew in with a somersault dive. Sting then got in on the action, leaping over Flair and taking out Wayne and Luchasaurus. Strickland and Copeland were back in the ring, hammering Luchasaurus with a scorpion death elbow drop combo kind of deal, a delayed vertical suplex on Wayne, as Allen leapt for a crossbody off the top. Luchasaurus then got back up to the blindsided Copeland with a lariat to the neck. Flair and Cage then kind of got into it on the outside. Cage shoved Flair. So Flair got in a few chops and shots. Cage then eventually hit the old man with a low blow. Referee then tended to Flair as Cage grabbed the TNT title, but clocked Luchasaurus with it by mistake, causing Cage to run out of the arena. Here's the thing. You see on so many shows where one partner will accidentally hit another partner, and then the partner that got hit gets mad at the partner thinking he did it on purpose. Luchasaurus didn't, because Luchasaurus trusts in Christian. He believes in his father, in his daddy, in his leader, I guess you can say. So yeah, I've always thought that was one of the dumbest things they do in wrestling, is when, like they did it last night on SmackDown. Butch accidentally hit Ridge Holland. And so Ridge left Butch after the match pissed off. Butchie, you think Ridgie, you think old Butchie did it on purpose? No, you dumb son of a gun. Like Luchasaurus didn't think Christian did it on purpose. Anyways, Copeland hit a spear on Luchasaurus. Allen followed it up with a huge coffin drop and picked up the win. Post-match, Allen grabbed the mic and hyped up the crowd as this is Sting's last, probably This is probably Sting's last match in California. Sting went over and hugged his son. He dropped a few F-bombs in the process as Sting was given the ring to soak it all in, which was very cool. This actually plays into a Will Ospreay thing. So we know when Will Ospreay's cutting promos in New Japan, he's dropping F-bombs all the time. Oh, I'm going to beat your bloody fucking ass, and I'm going to fucking this and fucking that. And so he's in the media scrum, and he's talking, and he's like, fucking shit. And he goes, oh, am I allowed to say that? I'm not allowed to say that, am I? And Tony's like, well, no, here, that's fine. You don't say that on television, on like Dynamite or anything like that. He's like, yeah, that's something I'm going to have to get used to, not just throwing out curse words. Because, you hear a Will Ospreay promo in New Japan or Rev Pro or something, he's dropping an F-bomb. He loves his, oh, fucking shit, So this is when things get a little stupid. Tony Schiavone's on the stage with referee Bryce Remsburg before announcing that the guns and Switchblade need to come out. And then, Switchblade comes out with no guns. Tony Schiavone then states, MJF is injured, will not make it back in time for the main event, and cannot compete. Thus, he has been informed that he must make the announcement that Jay White is the new AEW World Champion, basically due to forfeit. So, somebody, Tony Khan, you would think, told all of this to Schiavone, told all of this to Tony to make this big announcement, present the belt formally to Jay White, and then all of a sudden, it's all about the boom, bana, bana, hobbly, bobbly, wobbly, clobbly. Adam Cole comes out. Hold on. I just talked to Tony Khan, and this isn't happening. Well, you made Schiavone look like a dumb shit. He said, no, I promised my best friend that I would not let them take his title from him tonight. So, Tony Khan has agreed to let me defend the title for him instead in the main event. Let me, like this and all, do the match. Jay White kind of laughed for a second. And White said that he's taken Cole out before, and he'll do it again. And coincidentally, he's wearing the same gear from last year's Forbidden Door show where he injured Adam Cole. So he has no problem doing the same thing again. And then the match was officially made on social media, but they didn't tell us on the broadcast till after the next match. But here's my thing. If Adam Cole was too injured to be in the Ring of Honor tag team title match where he is one half of those champions, then how in the bloody hell is Tony Khan sanctioning Adam Cole, hobbly bobbly, one-legged on crutches, got no gear Adam Cole, to defend the world title on behalf of MJF in the main event? How does that make any sense? This is some of the stupidest booking I've ever seen. It makes the booker look incompetent, and that's Tony Khan. It just makes him look so stupid to the point of, oh, you can't defend your title on the pre-show. You can't be in the tag title match. Max must find a replacement. Oh, never mind. Yeah, you can be in the main event, though. How does that make any sense at all? It doesn't. None whatsoever. How is he too injured for one match on this show, but not too injured for another match? Too injured for one match where he doesn't even have to work the whole match. He could stand on the apron for most of the match, and opposed to a singles match in the main event. It made no sense. Now I get it. In storyline, he was never supposed to work the match. But if we're supposed to, what's the word I'm looking for? Push aside, that's not the right word, but push aside our disbelief and just think about this as real life. We're supposed to think, oh crap, they're putting Adam Cole in this match. And again, it makes Tony look so stupid for saying you're too injured for one match, but you're not too injured for another, that you would have to do more in. It's just so stupid. So dumb, so ridiculous. And that's not the only dumb, stupid, ridiculous shit we had with this main event. We'll get to when we get to it. I don't know what Tony Khan's reading right now, but he's got some paper that he just opened up. And yeah. I think it has to do with Tony Storm, maybe? According to the chat. I don't know. Then we had Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley. Moxley also, the six-man tag went 15 minutes and 10 seconds. This match for the International Championship went 12 minutes and 5 seconds. So, this match was really good, if not great. I thought it told a good story. And then in the end, I wonder if I know what Tony Khan's reading here. Some paper, look like a note that he was I don't know. Anyways, we'll watch that later. Oh, yeah, I thought this was a great match. And then it surprised me at the end when all of a sudden Orange Cassidy won. He had 6 orange punches? So, yeah. Holy crap. And I would assume now they're 1-1. Rubber match. Win? I don't know. Oh, crap. I think Tony's talking about the Continental. Okay, hold on. Before we get into this match. All Elite Wrestling. Let's look at something for a second. This guy thinks he needs another belt. Pull up a couple websites here. AEW roster. ROH roster. If we look at the well, that's awesome. They've already updated the roster pages too to reflect the changes from tonight. Okay, so if we look at these two rosters, in All Elite Wrestling itself, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 championships. Then we know the goddamn ROH titles, for the most part, get defended on this show as well. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 championships there. Don't see Shibata much. Never see Athena, because I guess I'm not even going to go there. Tony Storm or Tony Khan don't like Athena. I don't know. But if we think about it, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 Ring of Honor belts that are regularly seen on AEW television, plus your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 AEW championships. So 7 plus 4 is 11. 11 championships seen regularly on All Elite Wrestling programming between the pay-per-views, Dynamite, Rampage, Collision. And this dang guy has the gall to say, oh, you want to know what the winner of the Continental, why do I keep wanting to say Continental Congress? That's not right. Continental Classic gets the new AEW Continental Championship. The shit? Yeah, this guy created a new belt. There are now 8 AEW belts, 4 Ring of Honor belts. That's 12 titles spread amongst AEW talent. Because if you think about it, listen, look. You've got MJF, Tony Storm, Julia Hart, blah, blah, blah. Then, who are the talent that hold those ROH belts that we see all the time on AEW television? Eddie Kingston. Always on AEW television. What's Samoa Joe? We're going to get a new champion there. Not sure who that's going to be. They're going to crown that a final battle. Adam Cole and MJF. And then, Mogul Embassy. They're all on AEW television multiple times a week. At least Brian Cage is with the Mogul Embassy. So it's like, do we really need another belt? No. When you have so many titles, I get it. You put a championship on somebody to elevate them and make them feel more important. But when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 plus this new belt, 18 people walking around with championship belts. It starts to water them all down. You have 2 sets of trios championships, 2 sets of tag team titles. Eddie Kingston's also walking around with the New Japan Strong belt, and that's another thing. Eddie Kingston will be in the Continental Classic. And he said, not only will the new Continental Championship be on the line for the winner of the tournament, but he is putting the Ring of Honor World Championship and the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship on the line. So if he loses a match, those titles go to whoever beats him. And so at the end of this tournament, the winner will have 3 championship belts. The brand new AEW Continental Championship, the Ring of Honor World Championship, and the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship. What? Are you freaking kidding me? And I know someone's going to say, well, WWE has a lot of titles. Let's go look at WWE's website really fast. Pull this up really quick. So if you think of AEW and Ring of Honor, those are 12 titles. They're going to have 11, 12 plus the new belt. WWE has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Across multiple brands. AEW is all one brand. Technically, it's 2 with Ring of Honor. But then, for the most part, your Ring of Honor champions are on those AEW shows. In WWE, it's SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown. No, SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown. Raw, SmackDown. Both Raw and SmackDown, which is fine. Both Raw and SmackDown. And then for the most part, these usually stay within NXT except for Dom. So, because I know someone's going to say it. Someone's going to be like, you're complaining about AEW, but WWE's got a lot of championships. But think about it, though. Other than very, very rarely, those NXT titles stay down in NXT. And even Dom, who is the NXT North American champion, rarely defends the title on the main roster. Rarely. But more, it's just part of his entrance gear. He's not defending the NXT title all the time on main roster programming. Now, granted, Becky Lynch did when she was the NXT Women's Champion. Becky Lynch did. So that's a thing there. But for the most part, this is 13 titles spread out between 3 brands. In Ring of Honor, it's 12, 13 titles or whatever on every show. So, yeah. It's just too much. It's just too much. Yeah, I'm not even going to read your comment, James Beasley, because that's not even possible. That's not even possible. Huh? Yeah, okay. So Cassidy went straight at Moxley early on. Who was there? To just floor Cassidy. He chucked him to the floor on the announce desk. Moxley was relentless as back inside. He dropped Cassidy with the flipping suplex, daring Cassidy to fight back. Cassidy tried walking himself up, but ran right into a black hole slam for a 2. Moxley then raked the back and bit at the nose before Cassidy returned the favor with raking and a biting of his own. Cassidy then hit about 10 headbutts and busted open Moxley before delivering a superplex and a diving DDT off the top rope, and then a tilt-a-whirl DDT got a 1 count, which Cassidy couldn't believe. Commentary questioned the confidence in Orange Cassidy during this bout, at least early on. Give me 1 second. I just got a message I need to check. Might be some of this Tony Khan news. Give me 1 last second. Okay, so the letter Tony Khan was reading was from Tony Storm as to why she would not be at the scrum, and she titled it "Dearest Anthony" in reference to Tony Khan. That's kind of funny. Like, this Tony Storm gimmick, it gets me in some points, and then at other points I'm like, it's just way too over the top and hokey. But then like that one, "My dearest Anthony," that gets me. So, back to the match. Little kicks picked up the intensity as Cassidy flipped Moxley off and hit a dive to the floor, sending Moxley crashing into the announce table. After another one, the crowd chanted for a third, and Cassidy hit an elbow suicida. As back inside, Cassidy then dove off the top and blocked a Death Rider into a Stundog Millionaire. Moxley then fought back with anvil elbows, applied a Bulldog choke, which Cassidy escaped from, hitting a PK and locked in the Red Rum. Moxley fell into the corner and ripped the buckle pad off before dropping Cassidy with a cutter and a gotch-style pile driver for a 2. Little kicks from Moxley then woke up Cassidy, who sidestepped to charge, and Moxley ran into the buckle. Moxley didn't know where he was at first, as Cassidy hit 3 orange punches, with Moxley finally going down, but only for a second. As he popped right back up and got rolled up for a 2. Cassidy unloaded 3 more orange punches, followed by a beach break that got the pin and the win and retainment of the championship. So there we go. Orange Cassidy does retain the title. After the match, Claudio and Yuta helped Moxley as Trent Beretta came down to check on Orange Cassidy with Hook. Cameras then cut to the fans, and apparently Yuta bumped into Hook or something. I don't know, because they didn't catch it on camera. And then the commentary tried to say something happened here, but yeah. Then Excalibur goes, we're getting some breaking news here. It is official. Tony Khan has let me know that the main event will be Adam Cole versus Jay White for the title. And I'm like, how does this make any sense? The man was too injured. I already went on this rant, but the man was too injured. Okay, hold on. The BFG podcast says, Tony just announced that it won't be a new title. All the titles mentioned will be merging together, apparently with a blessing from New Japan. Well, let me go read his tweet, because his tweet was very... Okay, so then even the people in this match and tournament don't even know what the hell's going on. Because Eddie Kingston himself said the winner will be a Triple Crown champion, holding 3 titles. Tony Khan tweeted out, the Continental Classic starts this week, Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve on AEW Dynamite. 12 fighters, no interference, nobody at ringside, which means everybody is banned from ringside. The winner becomes AEW Continental Champion plus Ring of Honor World Champion plus New Japan Strong Openweight Champion. A new Triple Crown Champion at World's End. So are you trying to tell me, if you heard this right, BFG podcast, he's getting rid of the Ring of Honor World Championship? I think you might have heard that wrong. There is no way he is doing away with the Ring of Honor World Championship. So we're going to take that as a grain of salt. I will check that out once we are done with this podcast. Or unless somebody writes it up on their website before we're done. I'll read that maybe from a Fightful or an F4W Online. But I'm not saying you're wrong, because I don't know. I didn't listen to it, and maybe you did. But I highly doubt that he is doing away with the Ring of Honor World Championship and merging it with the New Japan belt to make a new AEW belt, which then would mean there's no longer a Ring of Honor World Champion. Then what's the use of Ring of Honor if there's no Ring of Honor World Champion? The Ring of Honor Television Champions are world. It just doesn't make sense the way you say it. Again, no offense. I'm not trying to be rude if that came off rude. I'm not calling you a liar or anything. Maybe you heard it wrong, but that's just the way you are explaining it here in your comment just doesn't make any sense. That's why I said I got to wait for someone to either write it up or me to go listen to it afterwards. So I'll frequently keep checking Fightful and F4W Online to see if they write anything about this to get a little more context. Again, nothing against you, but it's just the way you wrote that comment doesn't make sense. Also, we do learn that Mark Briscoe will be in the tournament, and then also later we learned Eddie Kingston. So we know of 4 of the 12. Bryan Danielson, Andrade El Idolo. Wayne Montgomery, how am I watching the Las Vegas race if I'm doing this live stream? It's recording on my DVR right now. Also, I've heard that race, and everything encompassing of it has been a shit show. Anyways. So far we know in the tournament is Bryan Danielson, Andrade El Idolo, Mark Briscoe, and Eddie Kingston. Those 4 thus far. I don't know if Tony maybe announced more during the scrum because he was supposed to like lay it all out there in the press conference is what he said he was going to do. So I don't know. Then we had timeless Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida with the AEW Women's World Championship on the line. This match itself did go 10 minutes and 25 seconds. Neil Bell says, why AEW can't make more titles for women's I think it's more to say division. You can't have too many women's titles if you don't have enough women to have more belts. They have just the right amount of women for 2 belts. So, as far as this match does go, I didn't like it. I'm just going to say right now, this was the first miss for me of the night. First match I watched, and I go, yeah, I could have skipped that match. Especially Aubrey Edwards being the dumbest fucking referee in the world. You're looking right at her ass counting the pin. You see this big-ass metal fucking pan on her ass. Like, come on. I know AEW referees are supposed to be stupid and incompetent, but not this dumb. So Luther presents Storm with the script. She looks it over, and she rips it all up, and commentary goes, well, I guess she's going off the books tonight. Also, we see the tray and her stuff there. Like, she's got the shoe and whatnot, which comes into play later, which, again, is stupid as all hell. So Storm's chest is all beat red, apparently from her match last night with Emi Sakura. Shida trapped Storm between the ropes and unleashed more chops on the chest as Mariah May was watching backstage, horrified. Nigel McGuinness is making Buster Keaton references on commentary, and it left Taz a little speechless. Storm finally mounted a comeback with a series of chops, some variations of that, until a running bulldog followed it all up. Storm then connected on the prolonged wind-up before we again see May backstage admiring her hero. Both ladies missed clotheslines until Shida connected on a running high knee. There was 10 corner punches and a missile dropkick for a 2. Shida took too long to follow up, and Storm chucked Shida off the ropes before consulting with Luther, who placed the shoe in her trunk. So basically what happens was she's standing like this, and he's putting the shoe like this. Flip-flop. So he's got the 2 shoes, right? He's got the 2 shoes. He's got one in his hand. He takes the other one and puts it in Tony's like this, right? Then she's got the other shoe, and she goes like this to use the shoe. Aubrey's like, no, you're not using the shoe. And Aubrey takes the shoe from her, walks into the corner, all slow-like, to hand it back to Luther. Tony goes, you're not looking. Boom! Hits with the other goddamn shoe. And I'm like, these referees are fucking morons. Eyes on the competitors at all time. But that only gets her a 1. Shida kicks out at a 1. So, no. She kicks out at 2. It was close. It was like she didn't get the pin. She didn't get the pin. I'll just say that. Storm then goes for the Storm Zero, which connected into a strong zero by Shida, or countered into a strong zero by Shida, which was relentless and violent with these strikes coming up here. Question mark kick and a Falcon Arrow from Shida, who managed to get a 2 off of all that. Shida then missed a Meteora and came up a little short, clutching her legs as Storm rolled through another Falcon Arrow into an ankle lock. Storm ripped the shoe off of Shida, who hit Storm with a forearm, and the shoe went flying. The shoe! Nearly hitting Taz, the commentary. Shida then grabbed a kendo stick, but Luther took it away, resulting in Shida kicking him low and dishing out kendo stick shots. This is all just so stupid. The ref's just watching it all, not trying to stop it or break it up or nothing. Storm, meanwhile, grabs Luther's tray that he brought inside and hides it in her trunks right here, right on her butt, under her stockings or whatever you want to call them. She then, or was I? Storm, meanwhile, grabs Luther's tray, brought it to ringside. She puts it in her trunks and hits a stalling German suplex. Storm then ran to the corner, readjusted it so it's right there on her butt when she hits the sweet cheek music, goes tray first, right into the face of Hikaru Shida, and then she goes for the pin. So she goes down for the pin, and as she's going down for the pin, her butt's up in the air, right in the face of Aubrey. Aubrey's looking right at her ass, basically. 1, I see the tray. 2, I see the tray. 3, I see the tray. I just think it's part of your butt. We have a new champion. Aubrey looks like the biggest fucking buffoon. But there we go. Referee's decision is final. Yeah. Mariah May then comes out and gives Toni Storm flowers. She literally chucks them from her. As the crowd cheers loudly for Toni Storm, who skipped around the ring with the AEW Women's World Championship, as Nigel McGuinness fought back tears on commentary. Nigel's a good commentator, I'll say that. He goes a little too hard sometimes on the heel stuff. I love when he talks shit on Danielson, because you know how close him and Danielson are. So when he's always like, fuck, or no, he doesn't say fuck, but he's like, I love seeing the dragon get his butt beat. Or I love dragon this. I love, the dragon's down and it's making me so happy. I love that stuff. But then sometimes he goes a little too heavy on I'm a heel commentator. Renee Paquette's backstage where he talked about this with the Eddie Kingston stuff in the Classic, where he says both my titles will be on the line. Then we had a match that I think went like 20 minutes. 20 minutes and 35 seconds. It was the tag title match, ladder match. Brutal ladder match. Give me 1 second. I just want to see if anyone's written anything up on this Continental Classic stuff. Here we go. Okay. Before we get into the tag title match, here's what Fightful wrote based off of what Tony Khan said for the Continental Classic. Fightful writes, and I quote, this is written by Jeremy Lambert of Fightful.com. He states, Tony Khan has given more details on the AEW Continental Classic. As announced at AEW Full Gear, the winner of the AEW Continental Classic will be the new Ring of Honor World Champion, new NJPW Strong Openweight Champion, and AEW Continental Champion. Eddie Kingston, the reigning ROH and NJPW Strong Champion, is putting his titles on the line, while the winner will get the Continental Championship. Khan mentioned the winner being the Triple Crown Champion. And it is a consolidation of the titles. The title, okay, so you are right, BFG. You are right. The titles will be unified into one title that can be defended in AEW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan. The title will be defended throughout the year and whoever holds the title next year will be entered into next year's Continental Classic. All right, so you were right, BFG. I do apologize if I was rude about any of that then. So they're doing away with the Ring of Honor champion. Hold on, I need to send a tweet. So the Continental Classic is going to basically do away with and activate the ROH World title. So, the T title will be their new main men's title. So weird. It just makes no sense that you're just getting rid of the ROH World Championship. Okay. I'm confused by all this. Anyways, Tony states, or the article states, there will be no one allowed at ringside and no interference during the matches. Winners will receive 3 points. 1 point will be awarded to each wrestler for a draw. The loser gets 0 points. Okay, so that's similar to New Japan, but they're adding an extra point. I don't know why. New Japan is 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw. Continental Classic is a round-robin tournament with 2 groups of 6 competitors competing. The finals will take place at World's End. Continental Classic participants we know of so far are only the 4. The 4 we already talked about. Danielson, Andrade, Briscoe, and Kingston. So he didn't announce any other... any other competitors. Also, Switchblade Jay White sent out a tweet an hour ago. Says, I am done with AEW. I mean, it's probably all storyline, but still. I don't know if that means I'm done like, I'm done? Or I'm done like, yeah, screw this storyline-wise. But, yeah. Jay White sent out a tweet. Says, I'm done with AEW. What does that mean? What the what? Some other notes from Tony Khan here. Tony Khan says Ronda Rousey is currently not signed to AEW. Well, of course, duh, we knew that. Tony Khan confirms he's had talks with Mercedes Moné and said he'd love to have her in AEW at any time. Tony Khan says there were over 13,000 total in attendance for AEW Full Gear tonight and drew well over 100,000 pay-per-view buys. So yeah, 13,000 in attendance, but only like 12,000 tickets distributed. Now, this Jay White thing is blowing up on Twitter. I don't know. We'll see what this means. Could be just storyline, though. My screen froze. Thank you for letting me know. I was on another screen reading Twitter, so I didn't see that. Give me 1 second to fix it. I just got to go here. I don't know why it does it sometimes. Boom, boom, and we're back. Thank you, Fonzie. And Wayne. So, tag title ladder match. That's fantastic. I loved this match. I thought this match was so much fun. So, I love how Ricky Starks comes down, and immediately he's doing his entrance, and he's like, I'm going to climb this ladder really fast. And the great shot that they got of him on the top of the ladder, and he's like, for his entrance. When he does the thing, because instead of climbing to the rope, because he does it on the ropes. You know, like the Rock goes over there and does the off of the side on the ropes turnbuckle. Well, he did it on this big ass ladder, and he's just like, dun, dun, dun. I loved it. I thought it was really good visual. Everyone just brawls immediately, except for Big Bill and King. Had a little bit of a face off, but we're cut off before they can go at it. King made a ladder bridge right away as Harwood and Starks had a tug-of-war with another ladder before Harwood had it smashed into his face. Apparently, Dax said something about he busted his face open. Hold on. He had a very funny tweet, old Uncle Dax. Posted a picture and said, split open forehead, swollen eye. I wonder what the business people in first class are thinking. Who cares? We put our bodies through all of that to call ourselves the best. For the love of the game. So, yeah. Because he got on a flight at before 10 o'clock. Before we even went live. But right when we were going, right about when we were going live, he was rating his first class seat flying home to North Kakalaki. Where were we? Wheeler speared Roosh through the ropes onto Bill and King, leaving Dralistico alone. Dralistico worked this match and got his just wrecked. And then he's going to go to AAA tomorrow and work for like a world title match over there. Like, what the shit? He took out a pile on a dive. Dralistico, that is. Starks then teased the dive, but then was cut off by Black, who did a moonsault to the floor. Harwood then stepped in with Starks and did the superplex spot onto everybody to the outside. King and Bill had a face-off, but no one is left to stop them, and they duke it out as chants of meat come from the 13,000 in attendance, or 12,000, whatever you want to call it. We're splitting hairs here. Both didn't notice Harwood and Roosh, who sandwiched them with ladders. Harwood put a ladder over his head and took out everybody before Jalisco cut him off with a dropkick. And Excalibur said his advice is not to have your head guillotined between a ladder. He did the Bubba Ray spot, which is a brutal clip. If you've ever seen it. Roosh then hit the fake out kick to Wheeler before doing the LIJ pose, giving Wheeler enough time to hit a snap power slam and go for the titles. Black took out the knee and a slingshot a ladder into the face of a charging Wheeler. It was a really cool looking spot. Where was I? Black propped up a ladder in the corner as Harwood tried to save his partner, but King leveled him with brutal chops. Wheeler then hit a low blow on Black and hit a pile driver off the second ropes onto a ladder to deserve a holy shit chant from the crowd. King then tried to dive to the floor on Bill, who met him with a ladder to the face, busting him wide open. Starks then started running wild with spears and a tornado DDT before doing the rope walk, taking out both of FTR. Black charged, but Starks hit an overhead suplex onto the ladder. King would then crunch him in the corner and toss Harwood into the ladder as well, following this up with a cannonball. King then took too long to climb the ladder and was tossed back by Bill, crushing him into a ladder. Jalisco then flew in with a lung blower, but leapt into a choke slam. Roosh sandwiched Bill in the corner with a ladder and hit Bull's horns. Roosh then also took too long as everyone set up ladders and started climbing them. King laid everybody out except for Jalisco, who planted Black with a poison Rana. King then cut off Jalisco, walked up the ladder, and hit an insane Gonzo bomb in the wildest moment of the match. King then draped the ladder. With King draped on a ladder, Wheeler opted to do a splash, and King, instead of going for the titles with Harwood, who was left alone until Starks joined. Harwood was laid out with the end by Black. As Starks was going to fall back, Bill saved him, allowing Starks to deck Wheeler, and grab the belts. There we go. So yeah, a lot of craziness at the end that I kind of tried to keep up with, but my notes are kind of a little funky here because it's like a lot was happening all at once. But yeah, in the end, tag champs are still the tag champs. It's Ricky Starks and Big Bill, and it looks like their next challengers are going to be the Jets, the Golden Jets, Chris Jericho, and one Kenny Omega. Also, pull this up really fast. Who was it? Espinosa says, I think Jay White deleted the tweet. No. Go to his page right here. Right here. I am done with AEW. And they made some jokes about it too, apparently. Ricky Starks. I don't know what that's a reference. Oh, that's probably a reference to the A's leaving Oakland. And then he did this one. Sean Marsap retweeted it. And he said, Sean too? Does he know something I don't? So I think it's a joke tweet. Like maybe a joke or an in-storyline tweet. So like how Ricky Starks retweets some A's baseball players, and he's like LMAO. But that ladder match was so much fun, so good. And then we go into the TBS title match, which was, again, nothing against the women on this show, but both women's matches did nothing for me. This match was okay, but I wouldn't call it great or anything. It's a three-way for the TBS Championship. Chris Statlander defending against Julia Hart and Sky Blue, with Julia Hart retaining the belt. The Blue has new entrance music and threw away the baseball hat that she's worn prior to every match. As Excalibur said, this was the metamorphosis. The bell rang, and everyone just stood there before Statlander finally used her power to take out both challengers. This is weird that they just stood there. It's like, I think Julia and Sky Blue are not supposed to kind of be similar, as they're like dark, evil characters who just like, I'm going to mind trick you. And then, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I have no clue. Check out both challengers with Hart in the trio. Whoa, Blue got a roll up on Statlander, who kicked out and sent Blue face first into Hart. The numbers became too much for Statlander, who was sent to the outside and dropped with a somersault senton from Hart and a Hurricane Rana off the apron by Blue. Statlander ate dueling thrust kicks in the ring as Blue and Hart had a long stare down. Blue then offered a handshake as Hart smiled, accepted, but then Blue dropped her with a forearm. Blue battled back with a full mount and a PK for the two before Statlander reappeared and used her power once more. Everyone took turns laying each other out for a triple down reset. Hart then recovered first and took Statlander off of her feet with a stiff lariat, but Blue caught her in the corner, with a cheeky Nando's kick, only to be met with a discus lariat from Statlander. Blue avoided a powerbomb, looked for a victory roll, and Statlander just dropped her on her face. Just dropped her right on her face. Statlander then wanted to go for the 450 off the top, but Hart sent her crashing to the floor and delivered a moonsault onto Blue for a 2. As Statlander saved and dropped Hart with a snap power slam on the floor, Blue came charging in wildly with a boot and hit a spin kick. He countered a Saturday Night Fever into a roll-up, followed by a great-looking roll-through Code Blue for a close near fall. Blue then went for a proper Code Blue, but Hart hit a thrust kick mid-move, laid out Statlander with a lariat, and sank in the Heartless on Blue. Statlander made the save with multiple gut-wrench suplexes and hit the Saturday Night Fever on Blue, but then Hart broke up the count, tossed Statlander outside of the ring, and stole the pin victory to become the new TBS champion and now the youngest ever champion in AEW's, 4 or 5 year history? She's 23 years old. Nobody younger has ever been a champion in AEW. So that's cool. Got a new champion. Again, the match really didn't do much for me. I didn't think it was bad. I think all three women worked okay together, but it's just a little bored throughout most of it. As we move forward, Tony Schiavone is in the ring and says, you know what? We have a huge announcement to make. We are going to announce our newest signing to All Elite Wrestling. Let me introduce to you, music hits, and it's Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay comes down to the ring. Crowd goes wild. Signs his contract. Ospreay, who is just a ball of energy right now, is saying stuff, and no offense, his accent got a little thick here, so I didn't understand some of what he said. But Ospreay said he's happy to be part of the team. But I got a little bad news to let you guys know first. I am committed to New Japan Pro Wrestling. My contract with them does not expire till February, so I will be respectful to them and finish out my time there. But once I am done there, I will be here full-time in AEW and fully on the road to Revolution. He then says he wants to come here and take on all the best. He wants to fight all the top in the world, and he wants the best at Wembley next year. So that's his goal, to have the top match at Wembley, to have the best match he can at All In next August. That seems like his main goal in the company. He says he wants everybody. He says, I want to fight Miro. He said this at the press conference. I want to fight Miro. I want to fight Andrade. I want to fight MJF. I want to fight Jay White because we never had a proper real singles match in New Japan. And then I want to go to Wembley and fight whoever's the best there. Whoever's considered the best, I want to fight there. Also, Kid Vicious says Julia Hart is 22, not 23. Okay, cool. I knew I was close. So that's really cool. Really, really cool. Let's see. To move forward. We then had, oh my God, the death match. But I would say right now is the most violent match in AEW history and probably one of the best matches we've ever seen in AEW history. Now, the way that I did not care for the Hangman John Moxley death match, I actually liked this one to an extent. I liked that it told a story. I liked that there was a real backstory of why this match needed to be so violent. Not just violent for violence sake, like with Moxley and Hangman. And I felt like these two did more Yes, there was a lot of just spots, but more spots that flowed better, seemed set up better, and just overall, I think it was better than the other, what's it called? Deathmatch, the Moxley one. Also, MJF said this may be the best death match he's ever seen. Maybe the best death match ever. I don't know about that. I haven't seen a lot of old death matches and stuff. So, well, I don't know. Espinosa says, AEW, WWE. Either way, we're getting a Will Ospreay action figure. Aren't there already Will Ospreay action figures? Hold on. Pretty sure you can already get one. Yeah, you can already get one. Watch. Go to Ringside Collectibles. We're going to get a Will Ospreay action figure. See? Will Ospreay action figure. For New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ringside Collectibles. Got the sword. What is that? The Super Juniors belt and trophy. The junior title. I think it's a junior title. Trophy. Let's see. We got it all right here. Oh, no, that's the old IWGP belt, isn't it? Got multiple heads, multiple hands. Got the jacket. Yeah, you could already get a Will Ospreay title belt. Or Will Ospreay, yeah, that's the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, not the junior. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can already get a Will Ospreay action figure. Let me see, what does this say? It says, look to the skies, and that's where you'll find Will Ospreay, a 3-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion and the youngest wrestler to win the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. Now a 2-time holder of the accolade, the Aerial Assassin's career. Okay, so it is the junior title. He comes with an alternate head, sword, multiple hands, junior tournament trophy, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship belt, and multiple different two different jackets. So yeah, Will Ospreay. I think that's the only one. Let me see. Yeah, that's the only one that I see available. Wait, hold on. Is this a real one or is this a custom? I see it. Oh, it's a custom there. Yeah, so that's the only real one I'm seeing. I'm seeing a couple customs, but it looks like the same one, just repainted by a fan. So that's cool. You can get a Will Ospreay action figure already. Not in America. The sold out. Is it really? Okay, hold on. Let's go back and check really fast. Will Ospreay action figure, Ringside Collectibles. It says add to wish list. Yeah, so I guess you're right. Sold out. Gotcha. I'm not a big figure person, so that's why I had to Google it. When it comes to that, I had to Google it. So this match starts, and it went, according to the Wikipedia, 29 minutes and 55 seconds. It was the longest match of the night by 10 seconds. So, Swerve's music hits. Whose house? Swerve's house. And all of a sudden, one by one, I suppose says they're very expensive. This is a $50 figure. That is kind of expensive for a figure. But it's also an elite with multiple hands, multiple jackets, multiple heads. So I could see $50. So these girls start coming out, and they slide up on the stage, one on this side. Then slides up one on this side. Then another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. And then out comes Prince Nana. And he's got himself a fucking stomp crew. And they're doing the dance. And he's spinning around. And they're all doing it in sync. And he's like, yeah, 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 yeah. And then the camera does the greatest fucking reveal. The camera does a wide shot. We get a wide shot from the boom. We then get the camera right in front of Prince Nana. He steps to the side and boom, there's Swerve. Great camera work there. Great camera work there. Like I said, fucking Nana's got himself a stomp crew. They're out here stomping the yard. But I loved the camera work here when you cut to the boom, get the big crane shot, looking around. Then it cuts back to the camera on the stage, right at Prince Nana, maybe like, arm's distance, maybe 2 arms away. Nana then moves to the side, and boom, there's just Swerve. Looking all swervy pissed. Swerve comes down, gets in the ring, and before anything can happen, the match happens. And Hangman just beelines down and attacks Swerve before the match even starts. Sprints to the ring, shoots him with a double leg, connects with a buckshot lariat within seconds, and we're off rolling. This match goes for the next 30 minutes. And it didn't feel that long. Unlike the main event that felt 30 minutes, this didn't feel like 30 minutes. This match flew by. Like I said, this match was 10 minutes or 10 seconds longer than the main event. And it felt like it was maybe 10, 15 minutes, if that. But the main event, I was like, man, this fucking match is still going. Anyways. You can only win this match again by making your opponent not answer the 10 count. So it's basically a hardcore last man standing match. Is how AEW does their death match. Paige then pulled out some duct tape and a staple gun. Paige then taped the hands of Strickland together and stapled what looks like a child's art to his face. And then he rips that off or whatever. And then he stapled to the chest of Swerve. Stapled to the chest of Swerve. And Swerve's just no selling the staples. I'm like, this fucking guy. Either there's actually no staples in that, or he's a freaking monster. He's a machine. So he's stapling him multiple times in the chest, and he's just no selling it, including stapling the ring attendant's rundown sheet to Strickland's arm. Paige then decked Strickland in the head with the edge of a chair, and he busted him open. So then, this goddamn Hangman Page, he busts Swerve open to the point where Swerve is dripping blood. Swerve's not just bleeding a little bit. His head goes down, and it's just blood pouring out of his fucking head, right? So Hangman thinks, I'm going to just do everything that's so unsanitary. He runs over, puts his head under Swerve's head and goes, ah, and just lets Swerve's blood fall in his mouth. He then goes to the top rope and proceeds to Triple H the blood out of his mouth a little bit. You've got to be goddamn kidding me. Paige then grabs a barbed wire chair and was about to do a home run swing with it. But worst, he just throws it right in. I think that was this part. He throws it right in Swerve's face. He just cow hard as he can. But Strickland gets a low blow at one point, and Nana cuts Strickland free from being taped up. Paige then staples the chest of Strickland again. So this is what it was. The first time he staples it, he kind of sells it, but this time he no-sells it. He does it a couple of times, and he still no-sells it. Strickland no-sells repeatedly, and then he staples Paige between the eyes, right? Like, forehead, like right, no bridge of the nose. Strickland then grabs the staple gun and goes, and then just throws the staple gun. I'm like, this guy thinks he's the Joker or something. It's the way he's like, like, God damn. Like, were there really staples in that gun at that point? We know there are because he stapled the stuff to the head and the arm. But were they like cautious of, we got 5 staples in here, so you can only do things 5 times, and then you got to no staples, and then you can play with the staple gun because there's no staple? I don't know. I don't know if there was really staples in it at that point or not, but this man's just, you think that hurts? And he throws a staple gun, like just whips it out of his hand. I'm like, all right, so that's the tone. That's the tone. Apparently Excalibur caught the staple gun, which impressed Taz. Strickland set up the barbed wire chair in the corner and drove Paige into it. And as you guessed it, well, Paige is bleeding here. Oh boy, eventually Paige looked like Triple H WrestleMania 20. So Paige is bleeding. Strickland's bleeding. Strickland then pulls out a cinder block and puts it on the edge of the ring. Strickland then bit at the head of Page and delivered a Death Valley driver on the block. So in the main event, MJF bites at the head of Jay White, and my first thought was, oh yeah, you're that where he's bleeding, because we already saw that. Strickland did. You know, bite his head with blood. We already saw that. So it's like, yeah, he bit the head. MJF bites the head of White, and I'm like, okay, I already saw that tonight. And the other one was better because he was bleeding. So it's like, whatever. Page then beats the count, and both men fought standing on top of the guardrail before Strickland connects with a pile driver on the barricade, spiking Page just ka-tong. Strickland is bleeding buckets at this point, and so is Page. Page's whole hair is just completely blood. Both men meet in the middle of the ring as Page connects with the fall-away slam, but couldn't kip up as he usually does. Page grabbed a strand of the barbed wire and raked it over the face of Strickland before wrapping him up in it and hits another fall-away slam. With the barbed wire chair in hand, Page hit a moonsault off the top to the floor onto Strickland. Nana then distracts long enough for Strickland to counter a buckshot into a JML driver attempt, but rolled through and booted the barbed wire chair right in the face of Page. Strickland then wanted a tombstone on the chair, but Page floated through and hit one of his own. Strickland broke the 9, so Page leveled him with a chair to the back. Page wanted an avalanche deadeye, and Strickland got free and hit a barbed wire chair shot, and one of the strands caught him in the face and the hair, and so the barbed wire is wrapped around the front of his face, it's stuck in his hair, and Swerve just yanks the chair. And I'm thinking, you just pull some of his hair out too? Strickland then hits a sit-out powerbomb on the chair, and then a Swerve stomp that looked like he just freaking boom, Hangman's face. Just 2 boots right to his face. As Hangman's just laying there on this barbed wire chair. Strickland then kicks aside the chair and opts for a bag of broken glass. Hangman is face down. He puts it all along the back of Page and then does a 450 splash onto the back of Page and the glass. Follows up the JML driver. Page miraculously beats the 10 count, and Strickland charged, and both men spill to the outside. Nana pulls out a barbed wire board, and Strickland places the board between 2 chairs in the ring. Strickland wanted to go for an avalanche JML driver, but Page bit free and hit an avalanche fall-away slam and a powerbomb stack before finally a deadeye on the barbed wire board. Page wrapped the barbed wire around the neck and face of Strickland and delivers a buckshot. But again, Nana pulls Strickland to the floor to break the count. So he tries to do this earlier. He starts to pull Swerve out, and Swerve catches the ropes and stands himself up at 9. This time, the rest counting. Swerve ain't moving, so Nana's like, I got you, and he pulls him out of the ring, and he lands on his feet. Brian Cage then runs out, attacks Page, hits him with a power bomb, a buckle bomb, and an F5. He then sets up a table at ringside, and the crowd goes wild. Cage tried to power bomb, but Page raked the barbed wire into the face of Cage and hit multiple rolling elbows. Nana then jumps up on the apron, and Page immediately grabs him. He's got him by the collar, and Nana goes, and I think it was Excalibur's like, oh, you don't want to be doing that. And so Hangman grabs him. Deadeye. I'm like, oh, Deadeye on the apron. Oh, wait, I forgot the table's still there. Boom! Deadeye off the apron through the table on the floor. Strickland then appears behind Page and grabs like the rest of that cinder block and just boom! Hits Page on the back with it, and the cinder block just explodes into dust. Like it disintegrates. I think this press conference is over. Yep, it's over. I'll watch that later. It's just this what's it called? Cinder block just dust. So Strickland then grabs a chain, wraps it around the neck of Page, up and over the top rope, and starts pulling on it. and pulling on it like he wants to hang the hangman. But he doesn't really. He just chokes him out with it. Eventually, he lets it go. Page is choked out long enough to where he can't beat the 10, and Swerve actually beats Page. I did not expect that one. I did not see Swerve winning. I did not think Swerve Strickland was going to beat Adam Hangman Page. Because if you think about it, I was thinking, okay, Page wins. He gets the revenge for his family. We get a third. We get a rubber match. It's 1-1. No. Swerve won at Wrestle Dream, and Swerve won tonight. They also positioned Swerve. Swerve needs to go for a title soon. Swerve is a top guy now in this company. And probably one of the biggest misses WWE's had in the last 20 years. Letting this man go was one of the worst decisions they had. We saw what he can do when he was in NXT. Never got a fair shake on the main roster because he was really there for like 2 months before they released him. But we saw some of the work he was doing, especially with Hit Row. Once they made Hit Row, and he wasn't just random cruiserweight, I can do some cool stuff, Isaiah Swerve Scott. But once he got to be, Swerve in Hit Row and show more of his personality and the ruthless side that he has, I was like, this guy's going to be something big in this company. And then WWE lets him go. So, big pickup for AEW, though. Just say that. This match was great. This match was awesome. This match was the match of the night. Again, every spot made sense. It flowed well, and they told a great story, unlike the Hangman and Moxley death match, which really was just spot for spot for spot for spot. But I felt like that match didn't really tell me a good enough story, and there wasn't even a good enough backstory for why it needed to be a death match. At least this one, death match because the man wanted to kill the other man for breaking into his home. Espinosa said that's all on Vince. Of course it's all on Vince. Triple H wanted Swerve back. Triple H never wanted to lose Swerve. Triple H was a huge supporter of Swerve to the point where he tried to contract tamper. Then we're coming down to the home stretch. Got 2 matches left. This next match is for a couple of different things. It goes 2 minutes or 20 minutes and 45 seconds. It's for the future of the Golden Jets, and the number 1 contendership for the tag titles. If the Young Bucks win, they stay number 1 contenders, and the Golden Jets must disband. If the Golden Jets win, they get to stay as a group and become the new number 1 contenders. This was Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho against Matt and Nick, the Jacksons, the Young Bucks. Fun match. But the crowd was just so out of it after that death match that this match didn't get a fair shake from the crowd, or me, really, because I was just like, not fully into it. This match never fully got me into it. I will say that. I don't know if it was coming off of the last match, or if it was because this match was just, to me, an okay match, like a match that could have main evented any Dynamite, but was just there on a pay-per-view. I don't know. So Don Callis joins commentary for this one, and Omega shook the Bucks' hands before having an evenly back and forth action start with Nick. They show some stalemate, or they show some sportsmanship and then go for the stalemate. Jericho and Matt tag in, and Jericho wanted to swarm him with chops. But Omega made the tag and allowed Matt to walk free. Matt then suckered Omega into a test of strength and put the boots to him. Omega responded by sending the Bucks outside. Terminator dive connects only on Matt, as Nick was caught with a Jericho springboard dropkick. Matt caught Jericho with a trap. Jericho and trapped his arm between the steps, smashing it in between. Jericho ended needing 10 stitches because of that. He got dumped, like his arm, right into the steps. The steps into his arm, whatever you want to call it. So the Bucks worked over the arm of Jericho until Jericho could fight back and make the hot tag to Omega, who ran wild on the Bucks, hitting the You Can't Escape on Matt into a lung blower on Nick before following it up with a moonsault to the floor. Jericho's arm is bleeding at this point after being smashed into the steps earlier, as Matt wanted to go for the walls of Jericho, but got cradled for a 2. Matt ducked a Jericho charge, and he collided with Omega. But Jericho fought back with the walls of Jericho of his own. Nick wanted a springboard, but Omega pulled the legs out from under him, as Jericho let go of the submission due to the bad arm. Matt kicked free and slugged it out with Jericho, who leapt off the top and was caught. Matt then hit the double Northern Light suplex on both Jericho and Omega. Nick then connected with a German suplex to Omega on the apron as the Bucks hit an assisted senton for a 2. Jericho cut off Matt in the ropes and hit a Hurricane Rana, but with the referee Aubrey Edwards distracted, Nick hit the low blow on Jericho. Nick then teased like he was going to hit Omega with a low blow and went, "Nah, I'm just kidding. He then slowly backs into the corner. For some reason, Aubrey just follows him, looking at him. Kenny's like trying to get the referee's attention or something. I don't know what Kenny's doing. But Matt's like looking. He's walking up to Kenny. Kenny turns around and goes, "Hey, Matt." Oh, kicked right in the balls. This whole sequence was just stupid as shit. I hated it. Again, Aubrey Edwards is the worst goddamn referee. Tell her I said that. She sucks. Jericho's down after a low blow. Omega's down after a low blow. And then Nick hits a Judas effect on Jericho as he's getting up, but Omega breaks up the pin. Nick laid out Omega with a dive on the outside as the Bucks wanted the BTE trigger, but were booed by the crowd when they hit it. Jericho then kicks out. Jericho blocked a super kick and had the Bucks do 15% until Jericho got a low blow of his own on Nick. Omega was left in the middle of the ring and had to choose between the V-trigger to V-trigger, ultimately opting for Nick before firing off multiple Snapdragon suplexes on Matt. Nick countered a one-winged angel into a poison Rana and hit a one-winged angel of his own, but Omega kicked out. Jericho hit a code breaker on Nick as Matt was dropped with a Kreutz Wrath for a 2. A super kick party finally drops Jericho, but Omega hits a ripcord V-trigger and a one-winged angel on Matt to pin him and pick up the victory. So I thought Jericho would get the win here, but no, they had Omega pin Matt. Then we go Circa WCW 1996, maybe 97. I think it's 97. Remember back in the day when Jericho grabbed a chair and started hitting the ring post on the outside, throwing a fit and stuff? Well, that's what the Bucks did. The Young Bucks acted like young children, circa Chris Jericho in WCW when he threw his fit. They threw a fit. They took their shoes off. I think Nick actually threw both shoes into the crowd. And yeah, they had tantrums and walked off with no shoes on. They left their J's, their Jordans, their Nikes, whatever you want to call them. And like I said, I think Nick even threw his into the crowd. He threw two things into the crowd. I'm pretty sure they're both shoes. So two people got great souvenirs tonight. They got ring-worn Nick Jackson Jordans. I don't know where this is going. I mean, obviously it's going to a heel turn for the Young Bucks, but I don't get the tantrum stuff. Like what? They're now they're Nakamura hitting low blows. Circa 2018. So yeah. Cool. Espinosa says 1997, 1998. I thought it was 97. I don't know why I said 96. I was thinking wrong there. I knew 97, but I didn't know if it went into 98 as well. Thank you, Espinosa. My WCW knowledge is not the best because I never watched it live. So everything I've watched WCW is watching, just going back and seeing it. So I really kind of don't fully have context to like, oh, this was this year and this was that year. It's just like, that was early Nitro, this was mid Nitro, this was late Nitro. That's kind of how I see it, since I wasn't watching it in 97, 98, 99, 2000. Basically, I was shown Monday Night Raw in 1998. Didn't know there was a thing called WCW until about 2000. And then WWE bought it a year later. So then we go to our main event. And this match had so much bullshit that it made Jay White just look like the worst. This did so much harm for Jay White. Jay White is essentially fighting a one-legged man. So before we get into that, tell us it's time for our main event. Now comes Adam Cole. No gear, boot, crutches, slowly getting down to the ring, walking, crutching, wobbling. He gets to the apron, puts his crutches down, up on the apron, barely sits there. And so he's sitting there. Boom! Sitting there. Gets his leg up into the ring, gets into the ring, barely grabs his crutches, stands up, this, that, where to go. And so it's like, okay. Jay White then comes out. He's all by himself. No, the guns were there. Guns were there. Jay White comes out. They get into the ring, and before anything happens, you hear and Adam Cole looks up and he's like, and then you see an ambulance pull in, and I'm just like, oh my God, they think this guy is Stone Cold. They think this guy is Steve frickin' Austin. He has trouble getting the ambulance door open. He finally gets out of the ambulance and he hobbles his way down to the ring. He gets in the ring. He says, thank you, buddy. Adam, I got it from here, but I appreciate it. Then Jay White essentially has to fight a one-legged man and gets beat to the point where he at one point had the diamond ring. He had the guns out there helping him 2 separate times and couldn't beat Max. Now, I didn't expect Jay White to win, but I didn't expect them to make Jay White look so weak. Jay White did a lot of crap in this match to the point where, like, he'd have MJF down. He'd have him out. MJF's in the ring motionless, and he'd go over and just start jaw-jacking with Cole. Oh, yeah, fuck you. You want to come try and do something to me? Hobble over this way. Hobble over this way. You can't get me. You can't. And then he'd look back over at MJF. After MJF's been laying there for 2 minutes recovering, he goes to grab him, and then MJF can counter his move. And like I said, he had the ring at one point. He goes to hit MJF with it, can't hit him with it. The guns come out. This did no favors for Jay White. They want Jay White to look like a big main event star. Well, he can't even beat a one-legged man. I get it, it's MJF. But MJF, basically on his own, took down Jay White and the guns. Like, what the crap? You just made Jay White a mid-carder for a long time. Because how are we supposed to see him as a threat to basically any champion right now? When he, with help, can't even beat a one-legged man. This was overbooked. They tried to be too cute with the story here. And it was just, I didn't like it. I thought the match itself was good. Not great. Good. But the story really took me out of it. Because I think if there wasn't the story of MJF is hurt, Cole was almost going to fight for him. But that's a whole other bullshit in itself. But it's like they tried to do way too much. And Tony Khan's known for this. He tries to overbook his main events. He did the same thing at Wembley. All in. That match, to me, was overbooked. People love that Adam Cole MJF match. I don't. I really enjoyed it, but I thought it was overbooked. This match ain't ending on a time limit. We're going to get a fucking winner. It's so dumb. Like, they overbook stuff in this company to the point where it just pulls you out of the match or it makes one of the competitors look dumb. And that's what it did here to Jay White. So, McGinnis popped Taz and said, this should be a last man standing match. All you gotta do is take out the other leg. Tag popped me a little too. So, like I said, MJF comes out. His hamstring is all... So first off, these goddamn guns pulmonized his ankle. Then they start saying his knee is hurt, but his fucking quad and hamstring are the ones taped up. Then in the scrum, he said, Doc Samson's going to have to pop my hip back in place. So what is it? Is it the leg or the ankle? The knee? The hamstring? The hip? Do you guys even know what you injured? So regardless, everybody and their mom is trying to stop MJF. He gets to the ring, is like, I'm defending my belt. He slaps White, but then he crumbles because of the pain of I can't put weight on my left leg. Right leg, left leg, left leg. MJF, White then picks apart the leg, delivering a suplex in the corner before tossing MJF to the floor where the guns pounce. We see Jay White has the referee distracted for a moment. Bryce Remsburg doesn't see anything. And then all of a sudden, Colton's got a chair, and he goes like this with the chair. And all of a sudden, Bryce Remsburg's like, got eyes in the back of his head, and he's just like the Flash. No, you're not using that. And the crowd just rises to their feet because they know what's coming. And he's like, you know what? And he looks around. Bryce Remsburg tries to play Aubrey Edwards and makes himself part of this match. And the crowd's looking, and they're starting to go, oh. He goes, you're. And the crowd's like, oh. And at the same time, he and the crowd all yell, out of here. And the crowd explodes when the guns get kicked out of ringside. Ass boys ejected. White then mocks Cole as MJF fires up with a series of strikes before hitting a body slam. MJF hit 9 corner punches and then bit at the head of White before signaling for a kangaroo kick. He connects, sends White to the outside, but couldn't do the kip up to get back up. Well, he kind of does the kip up, but he hurts his leg in the process. Cole then called for a suicide dive, and his muchacho went for it. And White snuck in and drop kicked the leg right out from him, got a 2 off of it. Thunderous chops from White, who then whipped MJF out of the corner, and MJF collapsed because he couldn't run to the other side. MJF responds with a great mule kick out of the corner, but the leg again collapses on a Panama Sunrise attempt as White hit a Uranagi. Excalibur then questions if the presence of Cole ringside could be distracting MJF. White then backdropped MJF over the top to the floor and fired off some chops that echoed through the forum. MJF answered with the eye rake right in front of the referee. He got his finger all in the eye. No, yeah, MJF gets raked in the eye. Ref don't do nothing about it. Calvert then talked about it's sustaining so much tonight because they tried to go on the. So they tried to do a spot where MJF goes to put Jay White on the announce table, and literally he picks Jay White up. White barely puts any weight on the announce table, and the whole thing just crumbles. The whole announce table just crumbles. And then MJF looks, and he goes, well, I know what my next spot is, and I'm just going to do it anyways. This guy goes to the top rope and does a elbow drop off the top, essentially to the floor. You would think if you do it onto the table's going to take some of the brunt of the fall, and there you go. But no. He does a goddamn elbow drop from the top rope to the floor. Where was I? MJF then opted to bring White back into the ring before taking a countout loss, but White met MJF with the dragon screw through the ropes. White tore off the bandage, and MJF was in the tree of woe. But MJF powered up. This was cool. So he's got him in the tree of woe, and he kicks him a couple times, and Bryce is like, hey, get him out of that corner if you want to actually win this match. And he kicks him a couple times, and Bryce Remsburg keeps going, get him out of the corner. So then he's like, no, I'm going to go mess with his leg. And so he goes to climb up on the top rope, and he goes to pound on the leg. 1, 2. MJF then curls up, grabs Jay White, and just boom, Germans him off the top rope. White recovers, though, and hits an avalanche Uranagi on MJF off the top rope. Drops him right on his shoulder. MJF kicks out, though. More chops from White as MJF screams. There's an eye poke spot again. There's a discus elbow. There was a flatliner and a release German suplex from White. MJF spun out of a Blade Runner as both traded near falls. They tried to cheat, and they rolled through, and they tried to cheat with the tights. They rolled through. MJF then hit a devastating-looking tombstone and spiked White right on top of his head. There was a double stomp off the top to the arm, but White avoided a heat seeker. Out of nowhere, MJF then sprinted at White. All of a sudden, he can run on the apron and hit a diving cutter. This was fucking insane. MJF is on one side of the ring. Jay White is on the apron by the ramp. MJF then runs, jumps up over the top rope, barely, clips his leg at one point, grabs Jay White and gives him a cutter, an RKO, out of the ring to the floor, off the apron. He jumped over the top rope, barely. When I say he barely jumped over the top rope, like, I wish I had an action figure in here, but I don't. Here's the top rope, right? This is the top rope. He runs, jumps, and it almost looks like he uses the middle rope to bounce himself again. His foot catches this rope, and then they just go flying with the RKO cutter. Like, this is wild. He then looks at Adam Cole, because he gets up first, and Adam's like, "You got this, buddy. You got this. Go get him." He throws him in the ring. You get back inside the ring. MJF exposes the bad knee. He collapses multiple times, leading to the referee wanting to stop the match at one point. He even calls Doc Samson over to check on him, but MJF says, "I'm fine. I'm going to go. I'm good." White then hit 2 dragon screws and spat at Adam Cole ringside and then slapped on a figure 4. So before this, forgot to mention, Jay White had pulled off the shirt of MJF and threw it in the face of Adam Cole. So Adam Cole is now holding MJF's shirt. And for some reason, they start saying, he's going to throw in the towel. Oh my God, he's going to throw in the towel for MJF. And I get why they tried to bring this up, but it made no sense. How can Adam Cole, having MJF's T-shirt in his hand, be like, "Oh, I'm going to say he quits. I'm going to give up for him"? I get what the story is. They couldn't fully say it, but it goes back to the first Full Gear in 2019. It was Cody Rhodes challenging Chris Jericho for the AEW World title. MJF was in Cody's corner, and MJF was able, because Cody went into the match hurt. And basically it was like, "Hey, if I'm never going to quit, but if you see something where I'm going to do bodily harm to myself, throw in the towel." So MJF throws in the towel, screws Cody out of the championship. Cody can never win the AEW World Championship again, regardless. So now they're playing it up. MJF's on the other side, and Adam Cole might throw in the towel. Where does this make any sense? He's got his T-shirt, and this was never put into anything. So this was dumb as well. Like, we get where this is playing off of, but it didn't work. Because they didn't need it anyways. MJF reverses the hold, White gets to the ropes. Cole then wanted to use the ROH tag title on White, because I guess MJF's starting to corrupt Adam Cole. He grabbed it from Cole, though, and levels MJF with it. And MJF bumps into the referee. MJF's knocked out. Oh, hold on. So Cole leveled. Okay, there we go. I read this wrong. Cole hits MJF with the belt by accident, knocking down the referee, knocking out Max. Max then kicks away from White, who collided. Yeah, so convoluted. Cole wants to hit White with the belt. He accidentally hits Max. Max then bumps into Jay White, who bumps into the referee. Referee's down and dead for a good 4 or 5 minutes. Cole then has the diamond ring, and he sets it on the apron, tells Max, "Grab the ring, Max, grab the ring." But Jay White grabs the ring. He goes to use it, and MJF just kicks him in the balls. This goddamn Jay White is fighting a one-legged man, and he can't outsmart him. He can't outmaneuver him. He can't out-anything him to just be like, "Oh, well, I'm going to move faster than you. You want to kick me in the ball? Move over to the side. You can't shuffle right now. You can't jip, jive, and dodge." No, he gets kicked in the balls, drops the ring. Ass Boys come back out. MJF puts the ring on. Boom. Colton's down. Boom. Austin's down. Boom. Jay White's down. We unloads. MJF hides the evidence. Referee all of a sudden, MJF goes for the pin. Referee's alive again. 1, 2, 3 counts the pin. MJF wins, retains the title. There's too much bullshit in this match. I feel like the match itself was really good. It was a good match. The layout, the spots, everything they were doing in this match, I liked. But I couldn't get over the two overlaying factors of Adam Cole's going to actually almost wrestle this match. How are we supposed to believe that when you're going to sanction him for the main event, but you're not going to sanction him for the tag title match? How does that make any sense? And then the whole MJF's hurt and he's selling an injury to a body part that wasn't even injured. Ankle was what was injured. Not the knee that they kept saying, and not the quad, the hamstring that was wrapped up. MJF and Cole hug after the match. They go to the top of the ramp. They celebrate for a second, and the show goes off the air. That was it. Overall, I thought this was a really good show. A couple matches I didn't care about. A couple of bullshit things that I did not like at all. Then we go from there. So yeah, AEW Full Gear 2023 I thought was a hit. I thought it was really good. I thought was a success. Now you know what I thought of the show. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's show as well. Remember, you can call or text in to 510-906-1341. Again, that's 510-906-1341. The number is right there on the screen. Again, that's 510-906-1341. As we wait for any text or calls, if we do get any, I don't know. As we wait for that, let's go check the polls. Let's refresh them all really fast. Got that one. We got that one. So we check the Twitch poll. Everybody that voted liked the show. As you look over at the Twitter X poll, 65% liked the show. 26% did not like the show. And only 8% thought it was just all right. Very interesting. Very high I didn't like it. As we look over at the YouTube community poll, 65% liked the show, 19% thought it was just all right, and 15% didn't like it. Versus, can't wait to see what Will can do in AEW. Just imagine the matches. Hangman Page was like a vampire during the spot in the death match. Person says cool. Person says it was fine, could have been better. Swerve and Hangman was amazing. This person says show was amazing. And we do have a call coming in, so let's check that really fast. Caller, you're on the air. What'd you think of Full Gear? Hello? Hello? And no go. Try again or send a text message. Read some more of these comments. Where's the Swerve Hangman? You can skip the rest. Versus fell asleep. What? We got a call again coming in. Let's try this one more time. Caller, you're on the air. How'd you like Full Gear? What'd you think?
Hello?
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 What'd you think of the show? We can hear you. What'd you think of the show? Nope. Not working there again. Give me 1 second to see if maybe it's an issue on my end. Give me 1 quick second. It may be an issue on my end. All right, let's try this again.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, I didn't exactly watch the... Hello?
Hello? Okay. Also, the person said they didn't even watch. Said I didn't exactly watch the show. Like, okay, then. How are you going to call about the show if you didn't watch the show? Give me 1 last second just to double check. That should be working fine. Give us 1 last try with the caller. Caller, you're on the air. What'd you think of the show? Hello?
It's me again. Like, even though I didn't watch the pay-per-view, I wanted to ask you about the future of MJF.
Okay.
Like, do you think if he's going to stay at AEW, will the bidding war begin? I want to hear your thoughts.
All right. So as far as MJF does go, I'm not 100% sure what he's going to do, but there is a belief within the industry that he's already signed a new deal with AEW. So many believe he's not going anywhere and that the whole bidding war is just a storyline. Was that all? All right. Thank you for the call and have a good night. So yeah, the whole MJF thing, a lot of people within the industry think that he's already signed a new deal. And it's more of a, oh, now they're turning it into a storyline. It's just a storyline. But with that, some more of these comments here before we wrap things up. Person says it was meh. Or as the YouTube live poll does go, 72% liked the show, 23% thought it was just all right, and 6% did not like it. So with that, that is going to wrap everything up. Wait, we do have one text message here. Text message says, I think AEW Full Gear, okay. I'm wondering that AEW should do trios for the, no. First says they should do trios for the women's championship, or women's division. They don't have enough women for that. Like, who are you going to put in a trio? What trios do you have in the women's division? You don't have any. You had the Outcast, and that was it. So, yeah. You don't have any women trios anymore. With that, guys, that is going to wrap everything up. I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, App Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. We'll be back on Monday talking pro wrestling as far as the wrestling wrap-up does go. Then Luke and I will be back on Monday evening to talk Monday Night Raw, the final Raw before Survivor Series. And remember, next Saturday, be right back here talking Survivor Series, War Games, and everything that goes on with that show as well. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.